It's 6:30 p.m. on November 10th, 2022. I have no idea what month it is.
It's on.
Okay. It's 6:30 p.m. on November 10th of 2022. We're gonna start the meeting of the River Plantation Board of Directors. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the meetings of the Board of Directors for October 27th meeting. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
I looked them over earlier, saw no problem. If nobody has objections, I'll move it and approve it.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll just knock that. Yeah. Oh wait, I give you those. Okay. I'm gonna kind of take.
What's it say?
Just hit dismiss all. Okay. I'm gonna kind of take things out of order if we can, rearrange the order if you don't mind. Davis and Paul, okay, and Taylor and.
No problem.
Okay. I was gonna take Carol next, but she's getting some stuff together, so I'll give her. So we'll go to the operators report, and then you can get out of here.
All right. Okay, guys, I think y'all have a copy of my report.
Yep.
For billing period 9/20 to 10/19, you have 975 connections with 3 vacancies. You have water and sewer revenue totaling $80,336.13. Your billed consumption is for residential 10,530,000 gallons. The total is 11,208,000 gallons. You pumped for both of your wells this month, 11,945,000. Your pump versus bill is at 94. Your pump versus accounted for is at 96%. We fixed 19 leaks in your district. We took 6 back tees. They were all good. Your wastewater treatment plant, yes, sir.
The 19 leaks, were they related to TACUS or were they
consolidated?
general?
I know that some of them were related to TACUS, yes, sir. I don't think all of them were. I can
Okay.
go through the bill when I'm done if you'd like.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Some of them were absolutely because
Okay.
of TACUS.
Okay.
Your wastewater treatment plant is currently operating at 43% of its permit capacity with no violations. We had a little over, about almost 2 inches of rain for the month. Total gallons of reuse this month for October was 6,658,000 gallons. Number of customers 30 to 50,000 was 61. Number of customers 50,000, 15. Number of customers with excess of 100,000 was 1 customer. Following is your aged receivables. They total 83,708.26. And guys, since we met a month early, a week early,
Yeah.
the DMR was not ready to be attached to this, and that's why you don't have it on there. But as you can see, the permitted numbers for the wastewater treatment, everything at the wastewater treatment was permitted.
Okay.
And that's all I have, guys. Unless you have any questions that I may not be able to answer. But I'll try.
How we doing on the E. coli? I know that there's a number here and all that. How does that relate to?
It's well within. So your permitted number is 63, and our highest for the month was it all averaged to 2.49. So we're well.
Oh,
within.
okay. All right. Great.
Okay. Have a motion to accept.
This is Paul here. I'll just say this while I've got you here, Keith. This is the simplest way to do it. If you can get me an updated TACUS total for my dealings with them, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's not Keith, it's Mike.
Mike.
It's Mike. Keith's on
Oh,
vacation.
so just like, man, they sound the same.
Yeah, no problem.
I can't see. Well, Keith impersonator, please bring me an update.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I sure will.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion, we accept the operations report.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Carol, you on?
I'm on. Okay.
Now Mike can get out of here.
Yeah, you can go. Come on. If you want to stay, there you go.
Checks, I did additional checks and new cards, per diem.
Okay. Did you get that one?
Yes.
I submitted today. Thank you.
I told her she was in the checks.
No, I got it prepared for you.
I didn't have that one.
Okay.
I mean, off the top of your head, do you have any questions regarding the report?
I actually did have a question, probably not regarding the report, but regarding East Plantation billing. Are they normally always, have they always been 60 days?
You're very much aware that municipal accounts was at one point the bookkeeper for East Plantation. So at that time, Richard would provide the billing, and it was paid pretty quick.
Okay.
I mean, so now, because of the timing of East Plantation's meeting and River Plantation's meeting, and the time that I received all invoices,
Okay.
we don't have that middleman to,
Got it.
get everything to me a little bit more quickly.
Okay.
It takes a little bit longer, so really, yes, you can, the trend is going to be 60 months, 60 days in arrears.
Okay.
So as long as I feel like we're getting the payment each month, I think we're okay.
Okay.
I think once we skip a month, then we'll have a question.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, I think that was my only question.
I have a question.
sure.
The cash flow report versus the actual budget comparison. If I take an example of legal fees, on the cash flow report, it's $19,576.25, but on the actual budget, then there near the bottom, it's $19,257. I'm just wondering why they're different. Am I missing something there?
Okay, which page are you on?
Page 3 and page 6.
Page 3 and 6. Okay, so you're looking at the check for the legal fees.
Yep. 19,576 on page 3.
19.5, okay. And that was probably October services.
And then we go to actual versus budget on page 6. It's about 8 from the bottom, 9 from the bottom, 19,257. It's a different number.
19,257.
Post.
Possibly one of those, it's possible some items were broken out.
I was gonna say some legal
Yeah.
notices
Probably,
or something.
and they're assigned to printing fees or some postage and that kind of thing. So what you're seeing on the actual versus budget is strictly legal fees, no reimbursable expenses.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a question too on these. We had a payment to the estate of Richard Ramirez. Is that the last payment?
I can explain that. Richard's wife called me today and she found a check of his that could not be cashed because by the time the estate is wrapped up, it's gonna be more than the 6 months. So she asked me, she's bringing me the other check tomorrow, and I'm just gonna swap them out.
Okay.
So the other check has already been voided, and this one will not be issued until we receive.
Right, correct. We're gonna swap them.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and so that brings me to the other point, additional checks that are not on this report. We have a Centerpoint, a couple of holding checks that have been issued, Centerpoint and Republic. And then invoice for J&K Tree Services, and then Carl's fees of office for the last fiscal year.
Okay.
So, but those will be on next month's bookkeeper report.
Any other questions?
No, good.
Have a motion to accept the bookkeeper's report?
I'll make a motion, we accept the bookkeeper's report.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, tax assessor collector's report.
Okay.
I like we're collecting some of the old property taxes.
I also want to point out that you'll see, it included in your disbursement is the INS, or the debt portion of your tax.
Yeah.
For 2022. So that is deposited into your debt service fund.
Okay. Any questions on the tax assessor collector report? Have a motion to accept it.
Pretty slim.
What's the first one? It's an off month. It was October, remember? So,
I don't even have them all out yet.
No.
called them this week and wanted to know where mine was, so I could pay them. And they didn't know the number yet.
I would expect probably December.
December and January probably be the big ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they might not have some of the bills even out till the end of this month.
They were all in hearings in
Keep in
October.
mind that your taxes are not due until January 31st. They're not delinquent until February 1.
Right.
And they're paid to the tax office, and then the tax office then has to turn around and transfer the funds to you. And so there's some lag there as well. So generally, the months of January and February are the biggest tax revenue collection months for taxing jurisdictions.
Correct.
Do I have a motion to accept the tax assessor collector's report?
I make a motion, we accept the tax report.
Second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Review the investments. I like that interest rate.
Mhm.
That's almost our bond rate.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
That would be nice, wouldn't
It is.
it? Except for the other implications.
At 3.65, the Fed's approved
3.65
another
or
point.
3.56?
Yeah, 3.65, or on your report, yeah, it's actually maybe actually higher than that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Well, any questions on the investments?
Where do you get that rate?
Be nice.
That was a Texas pool, right?
The Texas Class account?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just to let you know, we have negotiated with some of the banks for CDs, so, you know, are okay with having some funds, held up, tied up,
for a little
that's
bit?
where we're tied up for a year. Those are getting at least 3.5%.
Wow.
So,
Don't you see that moving up though in the near future?
what's that?
Don't you think that number will move up?
It's possible. I mean, the Feds just, approved another increase, so, we're gonna probably see a little additional increase between now.
Supposed to be
and
another
December.
increase in about a week, as I understand it,
What's that?
in the interest rates.
Nobody will be buying houses, and if that's the case.
No.
That's why we're having a lot of bond sales going on right now, even for the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All right. Motion to accept the investment report. Everybody's good with it?
I'm moving to accept it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Motion to approve the payment of the district's bills.
I make a motion, we approve the payment of
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Since I've rearranged everything here, I have to remember where I'm at. Okay, Paul, I'm gonna put you on the spot now. We're gonna talk, can we talk about the damage to the district's facilities?
Yes, ma'am, go right ahead, we're ready.
Okay, all right. So the other evening, I don't remember what night, what day did we have it, Monday night? Monday evening, as I was coming in, I actually saw 4 consolidated trucks driving over the cart path. So this time I was able to get a supervisor's name and phone number. So, were you able to get any information as to what company they work for, besides the other one that I gave you the other day?
Yeah, no, this was really helpful, so I'll just update you on this now. We were talking about it anyway. So we're working on our violation notice to the what I'll call a contractor, could be a sub or something like that, but we know them. And what we are always told by these people, they come out there and then the big company like Consolidated or AT&T, whoever says, well, we hired them, but they have their own, they control where they go. And that's kind of the defense they always make, which we know is kind of BS.
Well, the ones Monday night even had Consolidated signs on their trucks.
Yeah, and that's what I really liked about that. So I'll say that to make sure everyone's caught up here. So we have actual proof. It had Consolidated stickers in the window and all this. So we have, as of actually today, started yesterday, but I was in a deposition. And so today we've actually added Consolidated itself to the violation notice, which is what I wanted, because they're the big company. So we've got that ready. That should go out tomorrow. So you'll be having your violation hearing at the December meeting. And we've got the goods on both the contractor and Consolidated now. So thank you for that help, Julie. So that's where we are on that.
Okay, good. Okay,
How
so,
much is the damage?
well, I don't know, but the damage that there was at the last meeting is now more because it's now fallen almost all the way into the thing, so I don't know. I think Keith was gonna get a contractor, can you follow up on that for me? Okay.
And I just went through the bill, and most of those leaks were from Tackus, and they all say back charge.
Okay,
So those are, say probably $30,000 or $40,000.
okay, so do you hear we got another 30 or 40,000 of Taka's back charges?
Yes, I heard that. It's unbelievable. If y'all could get me, at Muni Office, just get me like a total, because that's what I'm gonna submit, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna send an official demand that will precede the lawsuit, which Lord willing we won't need, but let me get that total. And then, Julie, you're correct, you mentioned that we do need, by December 14th, an estimate to fix for the repairs out at the park, slightly unrelated, but on the trespass by Consolidated, because that will be something the board should take into account, the cost of the repairs when you look at the violation.
And if, I don't know, if Mario wants me to get with them and show them where it's at or whatever, I can do that. Probably won't be able to do it tomorrow, but one day next week I can free up some time.
Julie, can I ask, if anytime I see any of those trucks on the golf course, take pictures
Take a
and
picture,
everything?
take a picture of the truck and take a picture of the license plate.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Although
Yeah, please, anytime y'all see them out there, do that. Take, the photos that are most helpful are photos of the truck itself with any badging or marking, and then the license plate, because then we can look that up, see who it is.
Yep. Because they're really breaking it up as they're driving over those culverts is where it's breaking up.
Yeah, I see them, but, I just keep.
Yeah, the one by your house is really bad, by
Yeah.
Braxton Bragg over there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
in
thank
pieces. But I have not caught anybody driving over there.
Okay.
So, but I will also tell you, I'm gonna bring it up. I will also tell you, Paul, that I had a hard time getting the constable to help me because he said that they have a right to drive over that to get to the right of way, to get to the easement. So.
But after you talk to them, they're no longer doing it.
That's right. So yeah. So after he did talk to him, I understand they're not doing that anymore. They're parking on the street now. So.
Good, yeah, and I don't believe if there's some easement across the park somewhere for, a utility easement that's open to that kind of work, maybe, but I doubt, I would be shocked if there's an easement where they were driving.
Okay. Okay. All right. Number 5. Taylor, this is you. Engineers report.
Nothing new on the top part where we talk about the permits and the well testing. Design projects, the East Ditch FEMA, still just working with FEMA on their stuff. Holly Springs, I just moved to a pending discussion with East Plantation. Century 2 Phase 1 rehab, we have a recommendation of award of bid habitats for Texas Prize, the low bidder at $532,063 that we do recommend the district award. I was really happy with this price. It came in about $100,000 lower than what we had anticipated, what we were kind of aiming for repairs, so that was nice to see. Wastewater treatment facility, electrical upgrades, also waiting on the East Plantation. Water plant number 3, working with Keith to kind of talk about just general repairs to that building as we discussed, to kind of budget that money. Water plant number 2, if you look at, I have to start numbering my pages for y'all's reports, but normally I'm not used to this. If you look at the sheet like this, it's a breakdown. If you've got a report, that's a breakdown of y'all's bond series funds. Anything in red is shown to be a project that's not been bid or awarded yet to completion. Just kind of showing the remaining of the funds with the contingencies. You'll see we kind of subsided the water plant number 2 recoding for the electrical controls, and last time I presented that proposal about $500,000. This is just a good snapshot of where it looks like you're going to overrun versus underrun in your budgeting items to see how far the money goes. So right now you have a total remaining of about $3 million with with the things that are put in. You know, some things that would probably get sidetracked would be like sanitary sewer rehab phase 3. You know, potentially a storm sewer rehab phase 1, phase 2. I mean, we get everything important done in phase 1. We can kind of push funds around because we get into a scenario where we're not just band-aiding, we're fixing things, and some of these things are not pending. Meaning we've got all the sinkholes, all the major issues done. Now we're just trying to rehab your system up to, you know, today's standard, right? But it's still functioning at that point. So that's kind of where your excess funds would come if we were going to start playing around with allocating more to a project than we kind of originally anticipated.
So is this sanitary sewer bid, is this for a specific area, like where you did the first televised
Yes,
thing?
correct. So this first rehab is for the, what we'll call the north section. It kind of starts right when you cross the bridge, that subdivision of River Plantation Section 1, and just moves towards East Plantation.
Okay.
I think there's like one run of lines that we weren't able to get to there. The reason we started there was because we're still waiting on sanitary phase 2 clean and televised, which is the majority of like the bigger lines and things like that, which will be where our second rehab is mainly focused. But this kind of took all the critical points that we saw that need to be fixed in that first phase of clean and televised.
Okay.
So question on that bid. Texas Pride is cheaper total, but when you go before additional work off items, if authorized by engineer, then institution form, what that's called, is actually cheaper. So are these additional work items? You're saying they're probably going to.
There's a good probability that they're going to be used. You know, whenever we're dealing with sanitary sewer rehab stuff, we kind of use that as a scenario, so we make sure that we put enough in there that we get a decent bid. If you just throw one linear foot, somebody may throw a really high number out there because they know this stuff comes up. So, you know, typically, especially with the bids being so competitively close, I felt certain going with the true low bidder with the additional work items versus the other one, along with the work days being low. So there were a multitude of reasons, but that's a good, astute observation of that.
And then what is the number 11 sanitary sewer reconnect by remote cutting? Is that?
So when they do a CIPP, the cast in place piping, so they pull a sock through the line, it blocks all of the connection points, seals them off, and so what they do is they actually have coordinate systems as to where they are around the linear foot. They go down and they drop a metal device down into the clean out of the house, and they find the magnet, and then they use a remote cutting tool to cut it, so that they don't have to dig down to the unit and actually bore in the pipe. But you'll see on the additional work items, there are some for external reconnects, which means whether it's lost or broken or things like that.
Due to this work?
Not necessarily due to this work, just due to, in general, trying to repair. You know, you might have a section of pipe that you're removing and replacing, so you need to externally reconnect all of those.
What about the clean outs? I noticed that's on here. That's not the homeowner's responsibility.
It says remove and replace cleanouts number 2 under additional work.
Yeah, so that is, sometimes we have cleanouts before the Ys, which is technically y'all's property where they would drop down that magnet, so sometimes they have to replace those so that, you know, in future the operator can come up from behind if he needs to fix anything. He has fast access to it versus otherwise.
I have a question about the wastewater treatment facility electrical upgrades.
Yes, sir.
Scheduling a meeting with East Plantation. What's the status on that? I mean, have they been receptive to having a meeting? Have you run into?
I would direct that more to Davis. Davis has kind of been leading that charge, scheduling meetings and some basic discussions with them. Davis, not to put you on the spot, but.
No. I actually got a phone call yesterday from their attorney. I called her back, and we've been playing phone tag up until this afternoon. So we have not had a chance to speak yet, but I hope to talk to her soon, and you know, we'll update the board members, as soon as I have some information. So.
Okay.
And then still, we don't have a proposal on that guts and storm sewer. Under the construction project, still verifying the clean and televised phase 1, we're missing a few of those manhole inspections. Same with the storm sewer phase 2. I got all the videos, just awaiting some of those manholes. Channel and park surveys, we got those input into y'all's master topographical system that we use to build projects and things like that, our CAD system. Storm sewer clean and televised is substantially complete. I got the application number 1 and final in the amount of $61,514. Now, please note that is an overrun, but this was something that we talked about when we awarded it, that we don't have the greatest storm sewer map. So pretty much I wanted to make sure that, look, if you ran into more storm sewer or anything like that, we need to, so we verified all the linear foot of video that we received with all the new runs that we now have in different areas. And so while yes, there's overruns, they were not just the contractor shooting the same video twice. We did verify the locations and things of that nature.
So this is before cleanout, right?
This is before cleanout, correct? Yes. Typically, you don't do storm sewer clean out per se because it's a lot of silt and grit. They got to figure out a place to take it. Unlike the wastewater treatment clean out, where once they blast water down, it just all gets taken in by the plant because it's all part of that process. So typically, the clean out phase is kind of part of the rehab phase as well.
So that is planned?
Yes, that's storm sewer phase 1 rehab is what we'll look at. Some of the critical points as well as hopefully catching all the spots where we have broken pipes and things like that to fix some of the simples. The East Ditch Decel, we have application number 1 final in the amount of $113,355.44. East Plantation, I believe Carol has invoiced them for $56,677. So we'll invoice them along with 50% of our engineering fees. Really happy with that project and really happy with how much it came under.
I have a question about that too.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that some of those grasses are starting to grow back in. Are we do we have any plans to?
Brightview was supposed
Yeah,
to maintain
Brightview.
it.
I'm gonna meet with Brightview, and we're gonna start talking to them about how often we want to maintain it. So
Okay.
right now we're kind of every time I come out here and stuff, I'm looking at it to see where it's at. The first time we'll do it, we'll get it done, and then we kind of see, okay, it looks like it's another quarter thing. Hopefully with the winter coming, we get a lot less growth, and it's kind of like mowing the thing. You can do it every
I
quarter.
did see some of their
Yeah.
seeding growing
Oh,
now.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a little.
Yeah. Hopefully you can do it every quarter, or less, depending on the
To
time
keep
of
it
year.
clear.
Yeah. So you may do it once in the spring, once in the summer, and then once between winter and fall. Just trying to manage it.
Isn't that what we bid is like once a quarter kind of?
We originally had that as part of the bid. I put it as part of a supplemental item, and a lot of the contractors who were looking at it had a real hard time being able to bid it because of how bad it was. They were just like, we just don't know what it will look like afterwards. So I allowed them to not bid if they were just going to put a 0 on it. We didn't judge that as part of who was low bidder. It was
This may be in addition to.
That's correct. That's correct. This would be an additional price. But what we need to do is keep it a separate contract so that every time we do it, we're billing 50% to East Plantation.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
What's the
And
math
just a reminder
formula?
that we'll have a budget for the maintenance of those drainage facilities, and these expenses will go on that budget.
What's the math formula for them paying $56,000?
50%.
50.
Yeah. 50/50.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Sorry, it's 50/50. The total payout was 113,000, and so they're
I got
sharing
you.
56.
I got you now.
Is any
We
of that,
do need to go ahead and invoice them for that expense.
It is on the invoice that is going out. I hope for it to go out tomorrow, if nothing else.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Carol. If you wouldn't mind copying me on that invoice when it goes out, that would be
Yes,
great.
sir, you would definitely be CC'd on it.
Robert, did you have a question?
yeah, is any of that money reimbursable by FEMA?
No, FEMA's work is only for damages that they considered were done due to Hurricane Harvey. This is part of just general maintenance
Okay.
purposes that should have been ongoing. Obviously, there was a time period in which it wasn't going, and so that was kind of the steeper price for it the first time around.
Seemed like there was some FEMA money somewhere for project
That's,
work.
yeah, that was to repair the.
There is FEMA money, but that's more for the concrete damages, the actual
Okay.
infrastructure of the channel, not general maintenance.
Okay.
Taylor, just to be clear, when you say there is FEMA money, no
Yeah,
FEMA money has been
sorry.
received.
That's correct. Thank you. No FEMA money.
I understand
We
that,
have
right?
requested money from FEMA going back to Harvey.
Yes,
Not a dollar of FEMA money has ever been received for that project.
that's correct. Thank you, Davis.
While we're on construction projects,
Yeah.
so when they're cleaning out the sanitary sewers, we had a neighbor of ours on Stone Mountain. She said the water in every one of her toilets, all 3 of her toilets in her house blew out.
Okay.
And she talked to the guy, I talked to the guy that was out there. They said this sometimes happens. They try to open up the clean out to relieve the pressure, but a lot of times they can't find them. But is this normal practice? This just doesn't seem like good service when they're, and the guy, and one of the things that really bothered me is the guy said, oh, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
So this is not good.
You gotta understand, in his world, it happens all the time. In the standard over a singular project, it may happen 10 times. When you're cleaning out 80,000 linear feet of line. The practice is to find the clean out. If possible, they should be knocking on the resident's door to ask about the clean out, because sometimes you guys may know it better than not. And if they're not, then certainly a discussion to happen. I have no quality. It's terrible when it happens. They should do everything in their power to clean it out, to fix. They're completely responsible. Any insurance claims, anything like that is 100% their responsibility to do. And you shouldn't get any feedback, but it does.
So homeowners need to contact the contractor company to get
Yes,
reimbursed.
yes, and if they have any issues, feel free to tell them to send me an email, call me, and, you know, we have not paid them a pay application yet. We're completely within our power. If any dissatisfaction, they will not get paid until they resurrect the issue.
And I will tell you guys, just in case you don't know, if you have an older home, because I just had this happen to my house earlier this year, older homes have no cleanouts.
Right.
I had no cleanouts at my house. We put in 4 when they went in and tunneled under my house, but we had
I have
none.
one.
And older homes in here, most of them do not have cleanouts. So,
One of the first houses, and I've got 3 clean out.
I don't have, well, they may have come back afterwards and put them in, but,
I've owned it for over 30 years.
well, I've owned mine for over 30 years too, and so.
But they've been there, I'm not saying they all have them, I'm just saying mine have.
So, anyway, so. Okay, Robert.
Is there a pre-notice given to these homeowners that may be at risk for a blowback? Where they can anticipate something may happen?
Yes, everybody should have gotten a door tag on their door for any area that.
I don't think that's happening.
Okay, so just this past week at my home, I happened to be in my home office and the truck was there was no notification.
Okay.
I talked to the guys afterwards, they opened our clean out, they never asked.
Okay.
They just opened it, which is fine, but one of the things I could add, I had no problem with them, they said our line and our street was fine. But he also said that he went, if I remember correctly, approximately 10 feet up towards our house from the clean out, and it was clear, and that was after they were done. But there's no notification being given.
Okay.
But I just happened to see the guys out, and they put and we have a manhole up in the right of way in front of our property. So they're nice and everything, but they're not giving any notice. One of the things I was thinking about possibly maybe occurring is if there's any kind of blockage from the clean out into the people's house, which is their, you know, that would be our responsibility. And when they're putting pressure, even though they have the clean out open, it's still maybe forcing that up into the inside the home.
Yeah. No, unacceptable for them not to be giving any notice, and I appreciate you letting me know.
None of our neighbors either, because we
Yeah,
talked to
no,
them.
that
so
will be corrected
just
immediately.
FYI.
There will be a fun phone call tomorrow morning. So, no, I appreciate you guys. You know, we do our best to keep track of these guys, but, you know, it's work with contractors. You know. Moving on the Stone Mountain storm sewer sinkhole, that work has been fixed with all the landscaping and cleaned up the area. They put down what we call cold patch for the time being, just to fix the addition of the road. They are gonna redo that asphalt as it's unsatisfactory, and for that reason, we still continue to hold the check. So no payment has been given, and we will not release that check until it's satisfactory. The last item that's not on my report, we did receive information from the county. We talked to them about the bridge on Mosswood, the current state it's in, and then they also provided some proposals with the potential of relocating Mosswood Drive to connect to RPMUD in front of the Stewart's Creek prior to the Red Bridge crossing, which I'm sure is the majority of the reason everybody's here.
Yeah. And what they're planning is a permanent road.
That's correct. That's correct. So the current situation of the bridge being 40 years old with the head walls and things of that nature is in a state of
Disrepair.
Decay.
not disrepair. It's been decayed. It's still safe to use. It's still working appropriately, but obviously with the rain events that happen in the Houston area, especially with the way Stewart Creek looks right now, a big rainstorm could easily knock it out. It certainly is not prepared for the high water flows. And so part of the discussion was a potential permanent road to close that bridge and then relocate traffic to further back on River Plantation across the street from, I'm going to blank on the name of the park. Tom Phillips. I'll get there one day, guys. Give me 2 years. Tom Phillips Park. We had a brief meeting with them where we kind of discussed some concerns, one of being, traffic, bringing all that Mosswood traffic back to it. Another one, I believe everybody's concern, is the speed of traffic with those blind turns and having oncoming traffic, interfering there. Events at Tom Phillips, so there's definitely a bevy of issues.
Plus, they'd probably just be doing a turnaround,
Yes, there's been a bevy of issues that have been brought to our attention. We definitely want feedback from the community. This is no way to try to pull wool over anybody's eyes. Full feedback. This is just preliminary discussion as to make sure the safety of the residents can, escape Mosswood in a time game. Nowadays they would never let us build a subdivision with a singular ingress. And the reason we kind of chose and looked at the route we were looking at was because people already kind of cut through that with the water plant side. I did look at the FEMA maps. That ground is about 116. The 100-year water surface elevation is 124. Right there at the water plant, where most people, I think, escape during high water flows, it's like 120, so it's not completely out of the 100-year or 500-year at that location. But just everything we're looking at, trying to figure everything out, as well as
Why can't they just fix the bridge?
Correct. Redo the bridge like a flyover they did on 242. Charge them 25 cents each time.
I think their worry is that you're looking at $1.5 million, $2 million worth of work.
They've known about this for over 5 years.
Correct.
Why haven't they budgeted for it?
Not only that, what's going to happen with the 30?
Remember, Taylor doesn't work for the county.
That's right. Please.
Taylor, Charlie has allowed all those camping trailers that are 32 feet to come in there. That ain't gonna be able to turn around on that street.
They actually will, the way it is designed, they actually will be able to make that curve. But I have we're not gonna vote on anything tonight, so we're just discussing it.
My question is, why are we spending a lot of money on it? It's not even our project.
That's what I wondered, it's Mosswood's.
We're not spending money on it.
They're taking our land, though.
Don't we pay him?
Moss.
You pay me to protect your interest.
You want to pay him, or you want the county to just come in and do whatever? Because the two
Well,
words out
I'm
of
just
their
asking
mouth.
a simple
Wait a
question.
minute. The words out of their mouth Monday were, and I'm not going to say it specifically because I can't remember the words, but fastest, simplest, and cheapest. Is that what you want, or do you want something designed?
I don't have a problem. I just have a question why we are so involved in it when it's not our project.
Because
Because it's going to affect us.
It's our land.
big time.
It's gonna affect the entire neighborhood, not just our
Right.
Well, I know that.
It's our
but
entrance.
the point again
That's right.
is we're spending a lot of money to work on this project, and it's really a county issue.
So you get to just turn it over to the county and say, hey, have at it, go for it.
I'm not
Does this
saying we
affect the
can't
bond
use
money?
our
That's not what
people-
I'm doing with it.
Why are you arguing with me? I'm trying to tell you
Because you're
something.
you're sitting here saying, why are we spending money? And I'm telling you, we're trying to protect our
Okay,
interests.
now will you listen? Okay, I don't have a problem with him working on an alternative, but it's not our job to pay for that, and it's not our problem, really. I don't
I
have a
understand
problem
something.
with him finding the best thing for us. Okay, that's,
You do or don't have a
I do not have a problem with that. But I, you know, the way it was coming down, we're paying for all of this, and it's really a county issue.
So the only thing I'll say to that aspect is you're paying me to make sure that you guys get the best possible information. You know, as a liaison with the county, obviously you guys have close ties with the commissioner as well, but when it comes to like their engineering department and things like that, you don't want a scenario where somebody comes at you and says, we're gonna do it fast and cheap without
Yeah,
well,
you know, it's
filtering
an example
through
when
me,
you talk
you know,
about
this is-
trying to make a road come right out in front of Tom Phillips. That's not gonna help a thing, it's gonna be worse.
Plus, I don't have any faith in Charlie Riley's road building skills. You look at every road in River
And they are going to
Plantation.
build it themselves.
Yeah,
They
you look
did
at every
say
road
that.
in River Plantation, there's all kinds of problems. If he puts a shabby road through there, the first flood, it's gonna have sinkholes in there. Plus, I heard there was a parking lot maybe to be put in there as well. No, that's gonna look terrible. The Harvey residents are gonna get furious.
Yeah.
First of
That'll
all,
be 18-wheelers and those travel trailers on the other. That are parked over in Mosswood.
So how does this affect the bond?
no effect on the
No
bond.
effect on
Well,
the-
wait, how do you know that? I mean, because what I've heard, and that's why I'm here, is that we have a bond that purchased that property.
That's correct.
Okay, so I understand that, you know, the big county guy, Riley, you know, he's coming in, okay, we're gonna put a road in, we're gonna do it quickest and cheapest. Okay, that's fine, but that's why I'm here. So we have our lawyer online. So what I've heard is that there's an impact for the bond as far as the usage. So how does this change? Because I'll just say publicly, I could care less about Mosswood. It's their problem, in my opinion. Fix your bridge, use your money.
Well,
Don't put it on
It's
us.
the county's bridge. but
Right,
there's
okay,
the
so
county.
now we have the county, so.
And and Mosswood is part of our district, by the way.
But
It
you
is part
still
of
haven't
RPMUD.
answered the question,
So-
why aren't they fixing the bridge?
Right.
They say they don't have the money.
Yes, they do.
Well, then
They
here's
voted
what I
in
would
their big
suggest.
Excuse me, before we divert, what about the impact on the bond?
There's no impact on the bond.
How do you, but where are you getting that? I understand the statement.
Right,
but
right.
Where is that coming from? Is it coming from the lawyer?
It's coming from my 100% professional knowledge of how bonds work. We sold park bonds to buy a park bond property. We cannot use that funds to fund roadways. We can't use WS&D funds, which is water, sewer, and drainage, to fund roadways. In no way, shape, or form could we pay for a roadway out of bond funds.
I understand that.
Right.
But from what the scuttlebutt that I've heard is that once we put a road, that changed the usage of what we bonded for.
Oh, no, that doesn't.
How can you say no if we're gonna have a parking lot and a road there?
But that section gets changed.
Yes, so you're gonna have basically an island of dirt. That's, what usage is that? That's gonna be still a park? What it's gonna turn into is probably an RV parking area.
Oh,
For people
or
who stay in
18-wheelers.
RVs.
Once
And
we
18-wheelers.
Let me just say, I hear the question, and I think it is a good and legitimate question, and that's just an analysis that we will do when we figure out what the taking is and what the impact is on the overall financing, if that makes sense. So it is not, there was a lot of property that was acquired, and this would be while it would have an adverse impact, I think operationally on a larger area, I think the actual conveyance itself would be small enough that it's likely de minimis, but we would just have to look at that.
And before we take a vote, I would like to
Well,
see
we're
a
not voting tonight.
whenever, a drawing. I want to see the drawing. I cannot picture what he is picturing. I'm not an engineer, but I want to see the drawing on here.
I would like to see that as well.
I agree.
Right.
But you gotta remember, we're not the one doing it, it's the county.
That's
I-
right.
You have to agree to
So
give a.
he's gonna have to get the drawing
Yeah,
from the
we-
county for us to see what is Charlie proposing, what you are saying we can or should not really be doing. I gotta see something.
My other question, part of that is there been a study as far as the impact on our bridge? Because if you put that road in, now you're gonna have RVs and all this other equipment, right? What's the impact on that? The loads, you know, as it is, when we already had an issue with tractor trailers cutting through when they were working on the 45, right? And so that bridge, we're supposed to just keep it as it is, from what I understand. So now how is that gonna change?
Certainly all relevant questions. Certainly all relevant questions.
Right.
No.
I think it's a valid question, but I think if you research, you'll find that the base of that bridge is constructed to interstate standards, not the part that looks like a drive-through,
But I
but the
understand
basic
that,
bridge itself.
But you still have an impact.
now that the load is coming on, shifting onto ours, on our river plantation because of mosswoods, the lack of maintenance, preventive maintenance, and infrastructure.
And
You know,
is
so
that bridge
now we're
tall
putting that
enough?
load,
Yeah.
we're putting additional
It's
usage
tall.
and wear and tear on our bridge that was never designed for that.
That's right. And
Yeah.
that bridge is historic.
And the road, and the road
Exactly.
itself.
And then it would have to go through engineering, because that bridge is protected by, and the engineers that protect that bridge is gonna have to be brought in, so you have some homework to do and some talking.
Are we gonna,
I've got a comment on the county. They are responsible.
Yes.
Being the county, they oversee everything, and they've gotta be sure all their stuff is in working order. And you were the one that found that this was a problem, where the hell was their engineer? And the thing is, they can get a low-interest loan, they're a government agency.
Oh, yes.
Why are we even involved in this? Let them fix the damn bridge.
Charlie is waiting to see who's gonna say, I bluff you, back up to the wall.
And fix Stewart Creek too.
Did you
Well,
find this?
the reality is,
Yeah.
even
Is
if
this
they
something
decide
that
to
you-
fix the
Yes,
bridge,
I brought it to their attention.
even if they decide to fix the bridge, there's gonna be a time period where they've still gotta get out of Mosswood.
Well, they can
And I'm not
still-
defending Mosswood.
Right.
I'm just saying, even if they decide to fix the bridge, tear it down and build a new bridge, they still gotta get out of there somehow.
Well, they
But
can get out of
temporary.
But it's a temporary versus a permanent.
I agree,
well,
I
we
agree.
have evacuation
Yeah.
notices?
So it doesn't seem to me that the county can just take the land from the park, put a road in without
Correct.
our, without our
Correct.
permission.
Well, it's frustrating
Permission and
on the
payment.
county, because the county agreed, or I'm assuming the county let whomever build that trailer park there.
Yes,
So,
Issue permits.
so, yes.
Yeah.
And so, that bridge, they just cut 5, 8 years probably of use off of that bridge by
yeah.
allowing those vehicles to go across that.
And there are 50 more,
then-
pads they're gonna be building, 50.
And not
they
only that,
ignored-
today, there were 4 18-wheelers parked in empty lots over there. They're gonna be coming through our neighborhood.
Yeah,
And our bridge.
yeah.
And they've ignored the issue there on, what's that one street, Magnolia?
Yeah.
They've ignored
First
that
one.
issue
They better fix
because
it.
they put signs up there so people
Yeah.
can't
Oh,
go
it's terrible.
around there.
Yeah.
But come on,
Barricades.
is that their only solution? I think we're
That-
being
So-
bullied.
That was their
Yeah.
only
So
solution.
perhaps do it just like any other road construction when they have to replace a bridge, build a temporary right next to it. Let them use their own temporary bridge while they're fixing their direct bridge and then
Correct.
take that temporary back out. Don't come across our parkland.
Correct.
And
Correct.
certainly don't come in through our covered bridge that we all really appreciate and admire every time we drive through it. And it identifies the community. So anything that negatively impacts that bridge, our covered bridge, I would be totally against.
Yes,
I agree.
yeah.
And you're saying if we give it to them, that property, are they gonna pay us for it? Or are we
No.
just saying, oh yeah, here, you can have it? I mean, we have a $2 million bond, whatever, which includes that portion. I would think they should be liable to pay something
I don't
for
wanna
it.
give what we're gonna have to be
Can they
looking
use
at
eminent
in
domain?
destruction.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I don't want
Is it
that.
We're gonna discuss in executive session our options.
Yeah, because if it's eminent domain, they think they have to pay you market value for it.
If you look at the plat, from when that Mosswood was put together, that area down there looked like it was platted for these type of trailers living there. There were pads they're putting on there, if you look the way that plat was done. So it's been in the plans or on the paper there for a long time.
Why does that have to go into executive meeting?
Because we've got to look at all of our options with our attorney. What are our options that we have?
We have to develop a strategy, and we
Right.
don't want to announce that
Right.
to the opponent here.
Got it.
Can this body group at least get a feedback from the current board that all of y'all are against doing anything that negatively impacts our neighborhood and bridge? Is that the focus that
This is
y'all
my
have?
arguments
Yeah, I'm
against it.
Okay, so each board member's
Is there
against it, y'all gonna be working?
Well, now, most of the board members, I will take, because we can't discuss
I
it
understand.
prior to,
I
because
was
we would
just
have
trying
a
to get
quorum. Only 2 of us were on that call Monday and know about it.
Yes, ma'am.
So the other ones, if they know anything about it, have heard it
Through the rumor
because
mill.
somebody else has heard it.
Yeah.
Because pictures were sent to other agencies and things that affects them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the other aspect that I would appreciate it as a homeowner and as a resident would be who do I need to contact and spread the word to my neighbors with the county? Or even considering that, is it just Charlie?
Charlie Riley is the one that's, making the decision.
You know, because
Right now.
otherwise it all seems like, they just pulled this arbitrary decision, they're just gonna do this. And just to dovetail on the previous comments, and this is for you as the engineer, I have a real problem with those RV parks, that they're right there next to where the water flows. So all those, they're gonna add more there from what I just heard. I mean, if you look at those, they're literally within a few feet of wherever there's a flood. And so to me, somebody at the county is responsible for approving that situation for future. So that should not come back on us, say, oh, well, these poor people in the RV park, that they're allowing that.
Right. No, yeah.
It's Charlie Riley
They
like
issued the
that,
permit
he can
for it.
just.
He's the commissioner of this precinct.
No, but I mean, he can just do whatever he wants.
Well, he ran
no.
unopposed, so
I
he
mean,
had nothing to
yeah.
worry about.
So, no, there are legal means by which this has to happen, and that's why we have to go into executive
Because like
session
the
to
RV park,
talk to our
who's the
attorneys.
genius who gave that permit, you know, I mean,
Well,
they can do whatever they want.
Mosswood had
It
some
was Riley, right?
Mosswood had some people in there that was fighting it long before the permit came out. And nothing was done. That's why voting is very important. And you bring me the money or you bring me the votes.
Well, that's
And
what I'm
bring me
saying.
the
Can
votes
we
have
get
power.
Enough
And
people fussing with
we
Charlie?
in RP did not get out and show our, Charlie. We are grateful for what you have done so far.
he has
We
done a
want
lot for
yes,
RP.
we did not get out and he looked at the numbers and he puts us to the back. So we're to be blamed sometime. We have to show support for these people who are running for office, that we appreciate them. We gotta take it serious.
Yeah, but they have to pay mind to what we do.
No, we have to show that we appreciate, they're the ones with the power and the money. We are only a vote, but when we get out and vote in here, minimum 600 votes, he couldn't even get 600 in here. You know how much he got? Less than 200. Out of 1,400.
Yeah, we're getting out,
Yeah, so we got to get out.
If enough people call them or send a letter.
That ain't gonna
or whatever
do.
and
So,
say, we
yeah.
don't want
Do
this.
it and tell your friends to do it.
Right.
Yeah, it takes 10 people. If you get 10 people in here to go down with you, you make the appointment, get 10 people to go down, he will take us
I'll have
serious.
those going around with
Okay.
a letter and then people sign it.
There you go, get a petition together.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking.
All right.
Are we clear on what we think?
Yes, I like that.
You're the lead.
Well, I guess we
No,
didn't have to go to public comment comments, because that was gonna be next.
No, you guys phenomenally care about the district, and I really do appreciate that. I mean, I hope that none of you thought that I was in favor or anything. I just try to present everything to you guys as I hear it, so that it's through a lens of, you know, whatever they're saying and kind of truthful with it. So, no, I appreciate all y'all's concerns, and we'll take all
I
of
do
them.
have a couple of, have they done a TIA yet?
There's been no TI, there has been nothing done. It was
It's
just me
preliminary,
notifying them
preliminary.
that this bridge was not in good shape and.
Well, we all knew that, it's been that way for a while, and these RVs are not helping,
Right.
the 18-wheelers we see go over.
Requesting somebody, but I would highly recommend a TIA floodplain studies with where the road's
Okay.
going. Obviously, the great point about the bridge, a bridge study just with the additional
Right.
load. I mean, you've got speed issues coming off of
Traffic.
wild corners, you've got.
Traffic's
On the
awful
railroad?
right now.
That's what a
Yeah.
TIA is, a traffic
Okay.
impact analysis.
Well,
Sorry.
the impact on drainage.
We talk the same language.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
There's a,
Since
there's a
2008.
dip down there. okay?
Correct, there is. It's
And so they're gonna be
100,
filling that up, because that floods pretty quick
Right.
there. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna cut into the potential for additional flooding if
Right.
they don't do it right.
Right.
And that's where the engineering work.
That entire area floods.
Oh,
correct.
yeah.
Are we at
No,
Seen
can
it.
we ask, are we at the point where we can ask other questions?
in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right, so,
Real quick, I need to request for approval
I
on
was just gonna
both
say.
the pay application number 1 for the storm sewer phase 2 and pay application number 1 final for the east ditch de-silt. And then lastly, the
award it.
yes, award sanitary phase 1, and then the brief discussion we had with water plant number 2 on y'all's feelings towards kind of pursuing that or and kicking off design, or if you guys wanted to kick it to December and talk about it a little more, which is perfectly acceptable. I mean,
Yeah,
the plant's
it's
still,
only a couple of weeks from now.
that's
so.
correct. The plant's still operating. We're you know, Mike doesn't do anything, but Keith does a great job.
Or Mike.
We gave you the opportunity to leave, man.
Yeah.
That's why I stayed.
There you go.
You know, but they're doing a great job to run that plant and it's still functional.
Okay, all right, so can we put that off till December? I think we got enough decisions
I think
tonight.
we're
so.
perfectly fine too.
Okay. I just lost my whole train of thought. Yeah, do I have a motion for the pay apps 1 for the sanitary sewer? Pay app 1 for the,
Pay app 1 for storm sewer, phase 2, pay
Okay.
1 and final. Pay app 1 and final for the east ditch, de-silt work, and then the award of the contract to Texas Pride for the sanitary sewer phase 1 rehabilitation.
Is that 3 different motions or
Yes.
just?
well, you
You can make it in one motion, and
just.
Davis is a phenomenal at typing up minutes.
I'll make that motion that we accept that.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Got to streamline government.
That's it. That's it. Okay. Public comments. Who has a sign-in sheet back there?
Oh, I don't know.
Still back here.
Can you
We have
go,
it.
can you grab
I
it?
didn't sign it.
Can you pass it up? Or
I'll give
you
you my
didn't sign
maybe.
it? Sign it right now.
I just have a quick question, and Taylor's probably gonna be the one to have the
Okay,
answer.
then go for it.
So back to the ditch, on the south side of the ditch, just down the road here, I saw that you did not clean that part out.
That's
Why?
right. My main concern was everything before that bridge, because the bridge is a bottleneck zone. To expend extra money to clean out all that other area where we would start getting into the San Jacinto River Authority and
But
things like
wouldn't it
that.
slow it down going into the San Jacinto?
There will be such strong flows at that point that it just kind of continues to blow that area out as the flows go down. I mean, there is a concern of desilting it in the future when we go to do a final rehab. But working with the funds that we had and stuff like that, I was really focused on the critical points. As you can see, I didn't clean up north of, right next to Stone Mountain Drive, where it's a little
I
more,
didn't see that, but yeah.
where it's a little more natural areas because the flows were low at that area. So the main focus was the heavy flows in which you're going to get bottleneck zones by the bridges. I think I was told that at once upon a time it did blow out that bridge and some heavy flows on River Plantation.
Not since
Close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of the thinking behind it was.
It floods.
Yeah.
Charlie could build that bridge up.
Yeah.
One bridge at a time. One bridge at a time.
Oh, you can handle it, Taylor.
There you go. All right, D Judge.
Okay, I was gonna ask something, but now something else come up. What about Stewart Creek? Remember the area there, the curve where all the trees and branches, and that was supposed to be checked with Charlie?
Yeah, so Charlie Riley's excuse on all that is Army Corps of Engineers won't let them touch it.
No, they left.
I've put in a call to I think her name is Maggie Lambert. I put in several phone calls to Maggie Lambert, who's supposedly working on kind of the emergency issue with Stewart's Creek that also involves that Magnolia Way, because that's just unacceptable as well. And so that's kind of the route I'm chasing. Charlie Riley kind of seems to, he wants to just push it to the
Okay, I think Richard had a contact there, because he had the guy email him, so he had, complete authority to clean the ditches out. So, I mean, that should be in the files or someplace.
I don't know how they would consider it, since Stewart Creek's a natural channel. There may have been a misconception between Stewart Creek being a natural drainage way and the east ditch or the Mosswood ditch per se being actual, man-made facilities.
Right, but since that affects the, flooding here, I mean, we had people flooded that never had got water before. The thing is, that's gonna help with that bridge, if we can get that cleaned out.
No,
We see that water stop and then back up,
Right.
because there's no place to go.
The issue is the interpretation of the navigable waterways by the EPA. Stewart Ditch being not a man-made, but a natural flowing stream, it falls under different EPA protections. So just going in there with standard equipment and doing whatever you want with it to clean it up doesn't embrace the natural. Not to bring Harris County or City of Houston in it, but they have the same issue with like Buffalo Bayou. They, every time they go to try to clean it out, there's an environmental group, there's Army Corps of Engineers that says, hey, we can't do this. And we're like, we need this to flow correctly. So that's why I'm reaching out to Maggie Lambert, who is part of the Army Corps of Engineers for
Yeah,
the
her name
emergency.
sounds familiar
Yeah.
from contacts before.
Yeah, so.
John, my understanding is East Ditch is a waterway, not a man-made drainage.
We're talking East Ditch, we're talking Stewart.
Stewart Creek.
Stewart Creek
Right.
under the bridge.
But you just said it's different than.
It depends on, when you look at East Ditch, it's got culverts on it, there's not really a navigable waterway by, so.
Not navigable, but it's.
It depends on
waterway, yeah.
who's in power at the time for the EPA, right? I mean, let's just put it this way, in 2012, if your water was left on too long and met a stream, that was now a navigable waterway, and we were all getting fined by the EPA. So it really depends on whose power, and basically how we kind of see it in the engineering world is that if it's going through culverts and things of that nature, there's a freedom to deal with it as necessary as part of a man-made waterway, such as Stewart's Creek, which has bridges over it and doesn't really get confined or restricted in any sort. It's something you don't want to play with. EPA has a lot of power behind it. But we will continue to harass them as much as possible.
So you just let it evolve over time to define its own water course, is that what you're saying? Because that's why it has that hairpin turn there with the sandbar.
Yeah.
Just wiping out that guy's house.
Water and wind are world's great erosion pathways. So.
All right, Kathleen Beth Duffy, you didn't say yes or no, so.
Oh, no, I've already run my mouth.
Okay, all right. Unsure, Frank.
Already asked
You're
my
good,
question.
you already asked it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Ann Thomas.
I was just concerned about the new bridge to Mosswood and finding out what all has been done yet.
Okay, cool. Okay, that is the public comments, so we are now going into, unless anybody has anything else, the board is going to go into executive session because we've got some things to discuss, not just on that, but on some other things, so. If you want to hang around, well, if you want to hang around, you have to hang around outside. We are not going to vote on anything tonight. There is absolutely nothing we are going to vote on tonight. Am I correct? There's nothing we're voting on, right? Yeah.
Also, we can go.
We're not voting on anything. So we will come back in from executive and adjourn. So
Thank you all.
thank you all for coming.
But you
Good
will
night, guys.
repeat, you will come back for the tape to say.
Yes,
what
saying
you
that
all
we're
did.
adjourning, yes.
Yeah, but you'll come back and say what you all summarize.
We'll summarize, yes.
Okay, good.
Best we can.
Yeah.
And
We
then
don't,
next
we
week.
don't summarize what happens in executive session.
Well, no, we're not gonna, we're just gonna adjourn, basically. We come back in and, yeah.
And if next week, if you can put at least 3 cheers like a.
All right, we're back into open session at 8:13 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
One more reminder, the meeting is December 14th, okay? And Davis, we will have to reschedule the January meeting, we're not gonna have a quorum.
Okay, no problem. We can, maybe we'll talk about a January date in December?
Yep,
Okay, sounds great.
okay. Have a good
Have a
night.
great night.
Thank you.
Okay. Good.